so many issues that borders around organizational change. All right. At the end of this, we believe that we should be able to know what organizational change is all about, how to execute it, when to execute it, where people involved in executing organizational change. So therefore, the program objective shall be understand what organizational change is, and it's important to individuals of the organization, understand the need for change, understand the concept of organizational change, what are the barriers, and generate action plan to handle the set barriers, then learn tools and techniques for change management. So I have Joyce. Joyce, can you unmute your mic and let's have a little engagement on organizational change. Can you unmute your mic? Let's have a little engagement on organizational change. Are you there? Okay.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. So, looking at, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, what are your duties at work?
My duties at work.
Yeah.
One of my duties at work is
what role do you occupy where you work?
well, I don't have a working position yet, but I'm aspiring to.
Okay.
I've been applying for
Have
jobs.
you worked before?
Yes, I have, but not as a HR.
Okay, regardless, what position did you occupy as the last time you worked?
I was a DMS clerk, distributor management system.
A DMS clerk.
Yes.
So
from what I've learned so far. Sorry?
What were your job? What are your responsibilities?
My former job or the question you have asked now?
Yeah, the last position you occupy, whether the one you're occupying now or before.
My duties was because I was operating the Guinness software platform. So I was giving out daily stock.
Your network is breaking.
Hello? Can you hear me now, sir?
Okay, hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
I know you are talking, but I can't hear you. Your mic can show movements, but I can't hear you. Yeah. You say you take daily stock.
Yes, I was taking daily stock and reconciling the salesmen and giving returns and weekly reports back to Guinness, all on their software platform.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that was your responsibility, right?
Yes, sir.
What was the aim? What was the main purpose of that responsibility? What was the key purpose of that of you doing what you are doing? What's the main purpose, either to you or to the organization?
The main purpose mainly was
what do you think is the main purpose?
The main purpose was so that all that is going out and all that is coming in is written down, because Guinness is an international body. They cannot come down to the very least. So it is whatever we have on the system, whatever we have captured daily, that they'll have as their data, that yes, this is what we are selling and buying.
You are going back again. I understand.
Okay.
I just needed maybe a statement to say your main purpose there was to ensure data accuracy, or to
Yes,
cut
sir.
costs, or to maintain costs, to maximize profit? So which of them do you think is your main purpose? Just one.
It was for accuracy. It
For
can pass for the
accuracy.
both, even to maintain cost, because I was one that was giving out stock. So it's based on how you must have sold your, how credible I'm dealing with each person, how credible you are, that will give you stock for sales daily.
Okay, so talking about your output now, how do we measure your output? If our area to evaluate you, considering what we did in the morning, the class we did in the morning, how do I measure your output?
My output. So can I understand clearly what you mean by my output?
Hello? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I think network
I'll
is quite,
say,
quite bad, but it is actually interesting engaging with you on what you do. So network will now allow us to continue. So let's just continue with the class. And I hope the network is also not affecting you from hearing what I'm saying. Thank you so much. It was wonderful discussing with you, despite network not allowing us to have that discussion. So finding purpose for your position is very, very important. Knowing exactly what you do is very, very important, right? So despite our job roles, despite our responsibilities, it's also good to know exactly why we are there, exactly what output, what contribution we are going to be making at the end of the day. So what is change management? What do we have you been in an organization where you hear things like this is how we've been doing it before in fact I'm just in a class where they are saying when someone was complaining that they told her that before she was born they've been doing things like that. I believe most have heard something that kind of slang in workplace that before you were born you've been doing it like that. That is how it is, right? uh, that's to show you how difficult
Your mic is muted, sir. We can hear you.
All right, thank you. So
You're welcome back, sir.
I was saying that the change management, when we are talking about change management, we are talking about how to engage people to allay their fears. We're going to be looking at that concept very well. It's easy just to say change management is this, organizational change is that. But how do we manage the situation of change? In all we're going to be saying, one thing is very important in change management, which is communication. Communication. Communication is very important in change management. Looking at the picture, you see people will be like, we've been in a particular place, they moved us to the present. Moving us to the present was not easy. It took a toll on them. Eventually, they moved to the present and they are trying to acclimatize. Before you know it, change comes. Of course, that's for change that they even have control over. What about change that people don't have control over? Like the most recent that happened to us was the COVID. A lot of organizations are yet to even recover because in fact some of them just folded and never came up again. They're yet to recover from the issue of change. So what is it in change management that we should be concerned about? Is even change management only for HR professionals? The answer to this obviously no. Everybody should be concerned, business owners, because it's not only HR now that is suffering from the change or enjoying from the change that brought that the COVID brought. Right? Everybody is involved. So change involves some kind of uncertainty, some kind of pain, some kind of denial. What will happen? You know, what is our fate? And that makes the reaction to change differ because of perception and individual character. Some people can be like, if you have read this book, Who Moved My Cheese? That's a book talking about change management. How people manage a situation. In the book Who Moved My Cheese, it's a story about, I think, two mouths who always go to a particular place to eat cheese almost every night. And the cheese, I think it was getting smaller, and one of them was smart enough to keep some. At the point, the cheese was no longer there. The other one, who was smart, began to look for alternative means to get more cheese or multiply the one he has kept or she has kept. But one of them was there whining and crying. Who moved my cheese? Why would they move the cheese? This cheese that we're enjoying, why? This sweet cheese. So the other mouse kept complaining and complaining. That is, of course, our attitude towards change. Our attitude towards change. There was a time I was working in Kogi, and we wanted to change our payment system to value-based payment. So for the operators, you are paid based on the value that you bring. So if you're a excavator operator, we pay you based on the number of sand or you load or coal you load on tipper. If you are a tipper driver, we'll pay you based on the number of trips you carry to go and dump. If you are a trip counter, we'll pay you based on the number of trips. No, just like that. A lot of people were very angry. In fact, they started protesting. They will not work. They were protesting that the COO then must go. He must go. He must go. And somehow we did not purge. That policy came to stay. Do you know the strong people among them were making more money? Someone that was making like 150,000 naira before now as a fixed salary was now making up to 200 and something thousand naira salary. Some were making up to 300. They were very happy. But initially, those are people that carried the placard and said that no, it will not work, it can't work. So our attitude to change also matters. And that is also different people react to change. But the reaction is not born out of. Some might be mischievous, but some can just be mostly fear. Fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what will happen. In fact, some is fear of the known, right? But change management, like I said, has a lot to do with we as a person. We as a person. What do you think? What's your thought process? The same correction that they'll give to Mr. A can be the same correction that they will give to Mr. B. And Mr. A will take it and run and succeed. Mr. B will be complaining and complaining and complaining and will eventually fail. It's the same organization where Mr. C is, the same organization where Mr. D is, and the change comes. Mr. D have acclimatized and moved on to it and even making good opportunity of that change, while Mr. C is still complaining. So change has a lot also to do with perception. looking at the screen, you can see some people, we are talking about the earth. Someone said the earth is flat. People like me now, I believe that the earth is flat. It's flat. And now say the earth is sphere. And now say the earth is a planet. Of course, I agree the earth is a planet also. So it's flat and it's a planet. The other say earth is a living being. Do I agree with this? Well, I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. So you see, even me, I have different perception about it, just like you also have different perception about the earth. So it comes from our background, experiences, exposures, and so on and so forth. Rather than analysis. Okay, so let me see who is on the line. We have, let me call my favorite. So just go to the chat room and type, what's your perception about change? What's your perception when you hear the word change in an organization? Or if the government wants to make an announcement that has to do with change, what comes to your mind first? So the first thing that comes to your mind is perception. There's a particular perception you have about what change is or what the change should be. There's an expectation. There are also expectations of response to the change, right? Whereby you're going to either, first of all, denial or otherwise. Then there's usually aspect of a new idea or new perspective towards it. It can be an idea. For instance, this when the COVID came, people made crazy money during that period. People made crazy money during that period, right? So, as much as some people are complaining, some people also had the opportunity to make a good earning because they saw opportunities amidst all those challenges that was happening at that time. Then there will be a shift in thinking. If you are the type that is so rigid, not flexible, it will be difficult to adapt to change. That is why in how I operate, when there is a problem, I have identified the problem. The next thing that comes to my mind is how to solve that problem immediately and the long-term solution. Immediately and the long-term solution. And at the top, we have self-actualization, change your perspective to see beyond. That's another, and when most people fall under that place, most of the time succeed what they do because they see things from multi-dimension. They see things from when you are just seeing a wall, they are seeing wall and opportunities behind. So what perspective of change do you have? Do you see change just as, oh, and that trouble is coming, and that problem is coming? Or do you see change as an opportunity? Frequency of change reduces employee job satisfaction, increases employees' intention to leave their job. Okay. So especially when there are negative changes. So when there are negative changes, bring uncertainty. Employees don't know what to be the next thing to do. And before you know it, they are trying to back out of the door. You are very correct. Thank you. So in change management, we have also those who call paradigm pioneers, change pioneers, idea pioneers, right? People who you can call them trailblazers. They set the path for others to follow. They set out the new ideas. They are risk takers. They see new opportunities. They are deviant. They don't follow that this is how it has been done. No, they are creating a new path, both for themselves and for everybody to follow. And of course, one of them in known history is our own very Martin Luther King, very popular Martin Luther King, as you can see in the system. It's also that a lot of philosophies that exist today, modern philosophies, came from people like him. So ask yourself, are you a paradigm pioneer? Are you usually scared to take the lead? Are you usually scared so that you are not quoted? Are you among people that are scared that you are not be quoted? Or you are scared of failing? Are you among? If you are not, then you are definitely a pioneer. You are doing those things that people are scared of doing. Also, it's important for organization to it's important for organization to keep change as the need arises, but there is need to carry out employee along and be patient with them, encourage and make them see reasons for the changes. Yes, that's where communication comes in. There must be serious communication between the employer and the employee. When a new change is affected, a lot of communication needs the workers adopt. That's also right. That's very right. For those just joining us, you're welcome. We hope that in the next 1 hour we should be done with the class. Identify goals of change management. Identify goals of change management. Importance of change to individuals. What's the importance of change? When leaders or managers are planning to manage change, there are 5 key principles that need to be kept in mind. Principle 1, different people react differently to change. A typical example in my office, we had a staff managing one of our plants called power plant, and he was also the recruitment officer. So we took away recruitment, and now being a plant HR recruitment officer is a very cumbersome job. So we took the recruitment officer from him and gave to a lady, a greenhorn, of course. Then moved him from power plant to a much more bigger plant that he had not handled before, where he was handling maybe 167 persons or thereabouts, where we are moving to have over 200 and something persons. Do you know that both the lady they gave the recruitment officer almost resigned that day? That no, she can't do it. This and that. It took serious talking for her to see the bigger picture in it. The guy himself felt like that was a demotion. Why would they take 2 positions away from him and give him just 1? Whereas that was not even, you are just even covering up because the person that was there before resigned. It was a very big deal. Flip the coin around. I was moved from my office, my very comfortable office, to inside the plant, to manage plant affairs as well. In fact, at the point in time, so my duties, I stopped doing them. Some were even taken away from me because it was so much now. And someone came to meet me and like, I was like, okay, it's work with the collect from your hand. Okay, it's not good though. You are going irrelevant. And it is not a demotion. And I laughed. I said, but it's not a demotion. It's not a demotion. I have gone to a particular plant and I did a model that the CEO felt is okay. I should come here and replicate it. So this is much more a bigger plant. So you see, that's perception. My subordinates were very concerned about that when the memo came, they were like, no, why would they move me? Why? But I was able to talk to them on the seat from a different perspective. So that's how people react. So people would have just maybe kept their their paper and resign and walk away. Everybody has fundamental need that needs to be met. Understand the fundamental needs of people when you're making change. A particular guy left my organization where he was an officer to an organization where he is a supervisor. When he was in my organization, when he introduced himself to new people like applicants or candidates, but he was also in the recruitment unit, you always be like, I am so person, recruitment manager. And I would say, no, you're not a recruitment manager. Stop saying that. You're a recruitment officer. And that he was not comfortable with the fact that I was always on him. It's a very big offense to say that you are a recruitment manager when you're just an officer. It's wrong. Step by step, we are managers, we grew from officer before we became managers as well. But what happened is that he needs power, he needs that accolade, he needs that designation, he needs that big name for himself. So when you're making change, understand the need of people, what they really want. Some people don't need your money, some people don't need position. If you ask now, let me pay you 3 million naira monthly, pay your accommodation, you have paid holiday, driver, this, that, and you should be a clerical officer, just be typing, or we should pay you half of that amount, half of those benefits, and you should be a manager. You see that some people will tell you that, pay me that little amount, let me be a manager. White people say, pay me that much more amount, let me be a clerical officer. The manager should be controlling me, that I don't mind. We've had things like that. Why is it so? It's because we have different things that different people want. Some want money, some want position, some want self-fulfillment, some want rest. Okay, so we have to understand this when playing out the card of change. Principle 3, change often involves a loss, and people go through the loss curve. So change takes you away from your comfort zone. That is the loss. The loss that you've been comfortable all the while. And all of a sudden they say you should start doing, no, it takes time. So you see people begin to find time before they adapt. Okay. Then principle 4, expectation needs to be managed realistically. So we need to manage the expectation of the people realistically. And in fact, in both ends, expectation from the organization, expectation from the staff. It's very common for management of organizations to tell the staff what they expect from them. I want to come to work early. I want you to tidy up this place. I want to attend to customers. I want you to. Do we also take time to listen to our employees to know what they expect from us? Do we listen to our students and know what they expect from us and address it? Principle 5, fears have to be dealt with. We must allay every fear. That is why in change management, there are no surprises. No surprises. Communication have to have started gradually, permutations, till you get to the implementation stage. From the implementation to the checking stage, evaluating stage, and re-implementation again. What are the importance of change management? Why do we think change is important? Can we give us our suggestions in the chat room? What are the importance of change management? There are so many importances of change management. I'm waiting. While you are typing, I believe everybody's typing in the chat room. One of the major importance is that it brings for fresh ideas. Change brings for fresh. Somebody should say that's what I want to say. When I say, that you said that one, that's what I want to say. Increases engagement, yes. So increase engagement and interaction. Increase outcome and output. So I've mentioned that it brings about fresh ideas. What else? What else? Can we have some of the importance of change management? With change, we can talk about having cultural fit. Organizations can adapt to trending issues and trending topics or trending activities. With change, organizations can adapt to trending issues and trending topics. Learning from different experiences. Yes, change gives opportunity that we can learn from different experiences. Reduce chances of failure or bankruptcy. That's also very correct. Reduce the chances of failure and bankruptcy. So it's really just of making mistake since it's going to undergo a rigorous process. Depending on what we're addressing, change can lead to lesser attrition rates. Yes, change increases customer satisfaction. Yes. Thank you. So we can proceed. We'll all answer the question that in the last slide before this one. Why the organization need change? To create what is not there, true driven vision, improve what was just finished saying, of course. What is there, true determine market forces, and so on and so forth. When is change inevitable? At what point can you say change is inevitable? So we have Glitch's formula. Organizational dissatisfaction stand as D. Vision of the future stand as B. Possibility for immediate tactical action stand as F. So when D is multiplied by V multiplied by F, there is usually greater resistance to change. Is that greater than? So yeah. So there's usually less resistance to change. Change becomes inevitable, right? Change becomes inevitable. Change management. These are some of the fears. How do we get there? What will it be like? What are the stages we will go through? But when change is properly communicated, when the activity for change is well articulated, planned, designed, planned, and articulated, you will have the buy-in. Managing implementation of the program and the process of change is to minimize disruption and maximize benefit to the organization and the individual. Continuously monitoring progress and fine-tuning the change journey as required. So change is not just a destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey because it's a continued process. There are sometimes that some of the changes you brought, there are some changes that you may bring and later you abolish it. Later you go back to it because the realities of time need that policy. The realities of time need that policy. So change is a journey. It's a journey. It's not a decision that, okay, we've done change, so let me go and sit down. No. At every point in time, I think in one of our classes, I told us how when we are about moving our gate, structural change, how we compare to staff, so that they will understand, because that structural change can demotivate employee, can affect their side, can affect their attitude, their thoughts towards the organization. The goal of change management and perspective. reduces production loss. With proper change, we can reduce production loss, avoid high employee turnover to eliminate an adverse impact of change on customers, achieve that results. This on organization. While on individual change, bottom up employee perspective, functional change management, down up managers perspective. Individual change management, functional change management. Okay, good. So, original change management, talk about managers have a very great role to play. Remember in the other class, I told us that managers are key to performance management. As well in change management and in managing the staff, management are key. Managers and supervisors are key to achieving this. Because as a manager and supervisor, you're the best HR of the employee. So managers have awareness in law context, are accountable, have to take action in managing change, should be result oriented when it comes to change, where return on investment incorporates their strategic initiative when talking about change. So when talking about change, let's look at time frame for effective change, financial inputs versus outcome, investment required, impact of change on cost. So the myth of change management. Things will become, which is the first myth. Planning can fully prepare us for change. Do we agree? So let's take it in the chat room. Number one, things will eventually become when it comes to change management. True or yes? I want to see it in the chat room. Number one, true or yes? Things will eventually become. True or false? Number two, planning can fully prepare us for change. True or false? Is it your true? Is it for number one or number two? Just put the number and put true or false. So number two, planning can fully prepare us for change. Number two, true or false. And number three, we can control change. We can control all changes. True or false? We can control all changes. Number three, true or false? We can control all changes. So number three, true or false? Okay. So let's see if we can control all changes. Part of the reason that started with plunging into economic downtrend is on the May 29, 2023, when our president moved fuel subsidy. For organizations, do you think they had control over that? No. All they can do is begin to affect that singular statement as cost the entire economy. So that takes us to internal and external change. Mostly you have total control over your internal change. In fact, sometimes not even total, because if you have a board, you may not have things your way all the time. But for external, you have zero or no control over it. All you have to do is to walk around it and pushing the effects it may have, or see how you can divert the problem into your solution and opportunity bag. So we have control over internal changes, but for external, we may not have such control. When you get the material, we'll go through this. So we've done 50 minutes now, and we have extra just 20 or 30 minutes maximum to round up the class. I want to believe you will have questions on change management. You have questions on organizational change. Okay. You may just go through what has been discussed and see whether you have something to ask that borders around organizational change. So what is really organizational change? It is the movement of an organization from one state or place to another. From one state or place to another. This can come in form of your policy, strategy, structure, technology. See, now, even whether you're in private sector or you're in government sector, the world is moving seriously towards technology. So anything you are doing, you must find a way to leverage on technology. That is part of the things that has kept our institution. We have leveraged on technology in various aspects of our business. So many things, in order to even cut down costs, we have used technology to do some certain things ourselves. The internet has made things very easy for almost everybody. I mean, if you want to be easy for you. So, organizational change entails the movement of an organization from one stage to another, which could be in policy and strategy, in business ideas, in competition ideas, and so on and so forth. So before you do that, you have to plan for it. Don't just wake up and say, you want to start doing this, because an organization, I used to have one CEO then. Anything he comes across and read, anything at all he comes across and read, automatically want to implement that in the next day. So that has been a problem for us then, because at every time there is always something new out there. You all know that there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to know. So anytime it comes about a change, about something, so they're telling us, you need to implement this thing, you need to change it, you need to do that. And that alone is worrisome, because people are already just trying to get themselves accosted with the change you just introduced. Here you are, bringing another one. Okay, so you have to plan for it. It's not a spontaneous act. Then gradually implement change. I always advise implement changes in phases, implement change in phases. And what does that mean? That gradually, phase by phase, you are recording in progress. You are implementing change. Phase one, we are going to address this. After that has been done, you move to your phase two, move to your phase three, and so on and so forth. Then you have supporting and continuous improvement following change. So don't just rest. Don't just rest. That okay, I have done this. So it's okay. No. Begin now to look at how you can improve on this change that is already that it doesn't mean that you should change it. What you should change the change, but you can improve on what exists to make the process seamless and easy. When coping with change, like we have said before, let the people involved see the bigger picture. And what is the bigger picture? The purpose. What is the purpose? Behind the purpose. Behind the purpose. When they see that and it's well understood, you might find it very easy to begin to what? Key in, make them key in into your change vision or organizational change vision. But if it's just like, okay, this is this follow suit, that is not a way to go. You don't have to be HR for it. Even your subordinates or your colleagues, you must know how to talk to them to get what you want. They are convinced about the purpose. When they are convinced, of course, they likely to follow. Link between desired result and competition approach. When you look at your screen, you see level of change, approach, and results. When you just speak, try for the first time, it brings merely an awareness. People now know. Knowing, of course, is not enough. But when you sell, in this context, persuade, it brings understanding. People understand you. I was in a manager's office and someone came out asking me, just shut down the person. No, that's how I want it. That's how I want it. Go and do it. The person left and didn't do it. And I went, I said, why didn't you say that? He has not given me a reason why you should do it. It's your duty to sell. Sell your ideas. Sell that change, original change, to the people that is going to be affected. The next is that you have to consult. Consult far and wide, from the lowest to the highest. With that, it will help everybody. How will I put that now? Try to see a little of their ideas. A little of their ideas into what you are talking about. And when their ideas are there, acceptance coming. And when there's an acceptance, ownership comes in. They join you in the process. They now own the process. Instead of you own the process will take it from you and they will own it. In we that deal with very large number of workers, it's very difficult for you to get the buy-in of all the workers. What we do is that we identify key people that when you are talking, you see those people that interrupt you, those are people we identified, and made them buy into what we are selling. Later they bought it, we roped them that you're not supervisor. So we were at the back chilling. The supervisors are there now, ensuring that those things are achieved. Don't you, as a higher supervisor, just cut the person in between and go to the lowest person and get your work done. You are causing a gap. When you keep doing that, sabotage will come in. Sabotage will come in. Once that happens, your day is on that seat. They are numbered. They will definitely sabotage your efforts. You just see that you are going in circles, right? So what are the mode of communication for change? The mode of communication we have said that means the result. There are people that okay. So there are people that they are not okay when you want to communicate a particular thing through email to people that work in the factory. It's not going to fly. Or you're using BB grammar. It's not going to fly. The best and what they understand more is gather them and speak with them. Gather them and speak with them. In your office too. You have to look at which of them works. The next is to sell. You need much more convincing stuff like trainings, like sessions for them to see that this is not the first place it's being done, videos, and so on. Then when it has been accepted, you can do peer group, peer-to-peer, focus group, working parties, and other forms of activities that can encourage and boost the acceptance. Then the next is ownership engagement, working sessions, one-to-one conversation, workshop, and coaching. By so doing, everybody gets involved and you see them begin to mentor the younger people. Why organizational change fails? Why organizational change fails? Just want us to take a little time and look at our screen and see some of the reasons why organizational change fails. Lack of a focus manager. Leadership. Leadership is a strong leadership is very important. When there is a strong leadership, it helps achieve the aims and objectives of change. Then you have individual agendas are okay. But I think I said it from the top. Okay, fine. Individual agendas are ignored. So this is where you have people trying to advance their interests, instead of advancing the interest of the overall activity that wants to be carried out. The next is role of managers is disregarded. You can change that to supervisors. Role of supervisors are disregarded. And when you do that, you disregard, those in between. You have a big gap, a big vacuum. That gap and that vacuum can make the respect attached to a position be to wane. And once that happens, even you can't be everywhere at all times. That's why I encourage you to empower your supervisors, empower your line managers. Next, when there's no regular training, no follow-up training, no pre-change training, no post-change training or workshop, none. How then do you want the change to scale to survive? It's difficult. It's difficult. Engagement is not measured. In fact, it's not even done at all, not even being measured. Not even done at all, not being measured. So until we're going to take all these little things seriously, then communication fails to win the heart and the mind of the people. Know what to say, how to say it, whom to say it, or where to say it. So that is how you achieve your change. And to the next barriers to change. Barriers change. Report the class should be closed. All things being equal. Target is pay 30. So we have rational and personal barriers. Personal, where there are individual resistance, group resistance, external resistance. Group resistance could be a particular department that felt they are the one that is most hit, or people who feel that their targets might not be a department, it just be a group of people with common interest. Okay. Then we have technological problems, legal issues, resource availability problem, other technical problem. Like, okay, that's what's on that technology, right? Even leadership problem, which we've addressed before. Types of change. Types of change. We have the broader perspective, which is the radical and incremental. Radical or incremental. When we say radical, what does that mean? What are we implying? Moderate disturbance, low risk. Moderate, and we have high disturbance, high risk. So if change is sudden, if change is sudden, be sure, be ready to see that you are going to have such kind of, you are going to have resistance, right? That is why I usually advise that change should be in phases and not just, one all of a sudden just bring out a change and expect everybody to follow. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Having said that, radical change, where you have high disturbance, high risk, and it's core. Then you have incremental change. It comes gradual. So from the first stage, which is like the peripheral stage, you have low disturbance, low risk, before it moves to the next stage, which is moderate disturbance, and you experience some level of risk on it. But as a HR person, as a manager, as a business owner, it is on you to ensure that you have to look at various factors and try to mitigate possible risk that are associated with any change you are introducing, whether radical, core, or radical peripheral change, whether it's incremental, peripheral, or incremental core kind of change. Don't underestimate any of the types of change process that you are bringing in. It's first important that you identify which is which, but also important, you also know that you must have pushing effects, you must have palliative effects, if you use that word. You should have contingency plan should anything go wrong. That's kind of policy that we want to bring. We anticipate, especially when it's radical core, we anticipate that, okay, how my staff might react. They may shut down the plant, they may not come to work, they may, we look out for the worst. So don't downplay any of the types of change. So we've talked about this before. People's reaction to change, how people react to change. There's, in a broader perspective, there is first of all the aspect of resistance. Then you have acceptance and involvement. But in all this, you see all kinds of things. People feel overwhelmed. They are not sure what the outcome can be. They begin to accept it. They begin to be like, okay, let's give it a try. This one is good or it's not good. You will get those kind of feedback. So whatever the case may be, there are different reactions. All right. Still talking about the big question. How ready am I for change? Are we ready for change? Are you ready for the technological disruption that's happening today? Are you ready for the disruption that's happening in the government? Are you ready for the government policies? Ask yourself that question. Begin to think more strategic now. Begin to be strategic in your thoughts now. Because that change that you are scared of will definitely come. So be ready for the change, because change is possible anywhere, anytime. Change happens when you are willing to do whatever it takes. When I'm willing to change the way I think and act, then I'm ready to make change happen. Okay. So these are circles of change: denial, resistance, exploration, commitment. To explain this separately and separately. At this stage, people going to think, okay, let's try this, try out new things. At that point, they've accepted it, and commitment, everybody's now involved in change. How can you move from exploration to commitment? Okay, explore different views of change. Don't stay with only what you think you know. Seek new ideas, practice new skills, work with others to solve problems, experiment before adopting solutions. Different roles for different initiatives in organization. So we have change drivers, change implementers, change enablers, change recipients. So which of them are you? Which of them are you? So I'm sure we all understand all this. Let's talk about the change enablers. They may not bring change. They may not implement change, but rather they can help you make change be either acceptable or to have easy implementation. These people cut across from the top management to the lowest persons. I was telling somebody how much I spend for communication in my plan to stay informed. I spend up to 25,000 naira every month to stay up to date what's happening in my plant. That even midnight, if I sleep, those that are on night shift, because we're 24 hours plant in Nigeria. So those on night shift will eventually give me updates of what has happened, what I need to know. Sometimes before security will get the security information, I've gotten it. So such people I have in the system, what they do for me is when there is a change, we use them to work on the cycle other people. We sell the change first to them as individuals. When we have their buy-in, they will not be the one to help enable us so that when we implement the change, we will not have resistance. Also, enablers can also be from those who give approval for the change, like your MD, your CEO, executive secretary, whatever names that they have, executive directors, CEOs. I've mentioned CEO, right? So, there is three-step change process. I hope we can see my screen. You can see my screen. Type 00 in the chat room. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Of freeze, let's go. Of restricted attitude, increase discomfort to what? Realize anxiety. Still, when you go back here, this is where is this? Where is that place? Like this was summary. I think it's too back. But there's a place that I've given us the summary of all this. Touching all this in a different place. Okay. So 8 steps in managing change. 8 steps in managing change. Establish a sense of urgency. As you establish a sense of urgency, establish a sense of importance that this change is important to us. Create a guiding coalition. Develop a vision and a strategy. Entry and exit strategy. Develop sub-strategy. And we should try to read all these kind of strategy books. Sun Tzu, The Act of War, 3 strategies of war, 3 laws of power, 28 laws of 41 laws of power. What that book? What 8 laws of power, right? And so many of them like that. All the strategy books, try to get your mind engaged in them. To communicate the change vision, empower your employees, generate short-term wins, create milestones to be achieved. Okay. And in this, let me see if I can get whiteboard. Let's see whiteboard. I don't know where I should see the whiteboard. I wanted to draw. I wanted to show us task quadrants, but in task quadrant, I wanted to relate it to how we can have easy to make change. Some things are important. Some things are important. Then determine whether it's urgent or not urgent, right? Some things are urgent and whether they are important or not important. So if you may choose to use, just put the task quadrant or important / urgent quadrant on Google to give you the diagram I was trying to draw here. So you can use this also for change when you are talking about change management. Know what is important, what is not important, what is urgent, what is not important. this Adaka model, the next model, I specifically wanted to talk about this. After now, don't just leave this and keep it away. Still take your phone, go on Google and read more about Adaka model. It's one of the theories that has really been in vogue for a very long time and still in vogue. In the Adaka model, we talk about awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Those are also change processes, change steps. Myself, I have used this in the past and it works. It works. These theories are not just theories, but they are something that have been tested and trusted. Try using it even at the most smallest notice of society, which is the family. Try it in your family, try it in church, and you see how it works. So first of all, you have to create the awareness. We've said this in several of the theories, and all of them seem to be in line of creating awareness to get that desire, the knowledge, let people understand what it is, then they develop the ability, they develop that, okay, yes, something we can do. That is where some other theories say the exploration. They begin to explore, right? So they show their ability in getting involved in the change. They get involved in the change process. And as time also goes on, you need to reinforce the change process. We are already on 3:30. Okay, so managing some challenges. So some challenges we might have, how to manage it. Maybe after this, we'll now take your questions. What are the initiatives for change? You need to ask yourself that question and use that as a basis to make people key into and buy into the change that you are selling. You have to sustain the change. It must be sustainable, not you do it today and tomorrow. Inconsistency will make people lose confidence in the system. Redesigning and rethinking change. Redesign your strategy, rethink it. If it's not working, look for something that works. Look for something that you can domesticate to suit into your organization. And then don't have time for this task there. Of course, those are obvious excuses, but especially top management staff, supervisors, they trivialize certain tasks, and those tasks which we aid in change management becomes an issue. Not giving support and necessary help when hope is not support help is not given or support is not given. Definitely, it's going to be jettisoned. People get weary and tired. Then the task is irrelevant. That's why I talk about importance and urgent. You must know the tasks that are important and urgent. They're not working the talk. You must walk the talk. You must do that thing that you are telling other people to do. I give for instance that part of what I've trained myself to do is I don't say, do what I say, do what I say. I do it, then I show them that this is what I am doing. Sometimes I make them understand that there's sometimes I do. And when they ask me, what am I doing? I say, when I give you tasks, it should be a privilege. You should see that as a privilege because it's something I can do. But I want to also test your thought process. I want to also give the opportunity to be relevant. I want to give the opportunity to know how to do it. That when you do it and make mistake, I can correct you. So I think this is where we'll draw the curtain on change management today. I'm taking your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. The aspect of redesigning and rethinking change, how do you handle that? How do you go about it? I don't understand that.
Okay. Thank you. So if you have, before you start the change process, expect that there is a gap you've identified, you start planning. Along the line, you've finished planning and you've got into the implementation stage. And perhaps, let's even use the worst case scenario that is a change that will be implemented once and not even in phases. Because if it's in phases, it's better. If it's in phases, when you implement and you see that it's not working, it's not what you thought in the paper, you can redesign easily. You can rethink, right? But when it's a one phase change thing, that it doesn't have phases, and you are already in it, you along the line, 2, 3 months, 4 months, you have to evaluate whatsoever change you brought. It is in evaluating, do you know whether it has addressed the problem to which you brought it to solve? Has it exposed the organization more? Is it posing a threat? Are there risk factors that arose? Is it maybe is no longer cost effective, or it was never achievable? So from the reevaluation, and this can be gotten either through open discussions, engagement, questionnaires, and testing the system itself. Okay, I can remember when we were implementing our navigation, our first navigation software introduced to our organization. It was not working. We found out that after each payroll, we do our manual payroll, then do the one on navigation. We match the figures together. So that the figures on navigation is there's up to 1 million naira difference in salary. I mean, for the whole plant, there's 1 million naira difference. That means some people are being short paid through the computer, through the software. It could not integrate various, maybe shift pattern, our attendance, and so many other things. It could not accommodate it. We had to go and re-strategize. We started looking for other vendors. We started looking for, okay, how to go about it. We got other vendors who were having similar problem. We still have to re-strategize and somehow manipulate the system to now give us what we have today. So change is not, like I said, change is not a destination. You don't get to this man say, I have done this, so we have done it, no problem. No, it is a journey. You keep doing it. Like I said, there can be some things that you will bring at point A. You'll be like, okay, let's move to point C. You go to point E. At the end of the day, you see that there is now a necessity, maybe due to times and whatever it is, that now demand that you should go back to point A. A typical example again, in one of our plants that have more artisan workers. So what they do is that they clock in and they leave. We've abandoned the use of time card and anything manual attendance. You just clock in with your ID card and go into the plant and work. But we discovered that what some people do is that they clock in and find their way out of the plant. So you have people in attendance in paper, in the computer that they are present, but in the field they are not. We now have to introduce again the time card that will jettison. So look at the what you've introduced as change. See whether it's visible, see whether it's achievable, see whether it's saving costs, see whether it's posing more risks. If it is, think about it. Think about redesigning it. You can think about re-strategizing, and reflect. You must evaluate every change process you bring periodically. That is what is called HR audit. So you have to audit your process and your procedures from time to time. I hope that helps. Do we have someone else? Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
So I've been meaning to ask, aside the classes we have been having, are there like e-books materials that can be recommended for one to fall back on, like go back to read?
Yes, you get even the program coordinator, I think he's online. Maybe he will say something about that now.
Okay, sir.
But for books, I'm going to drop some books for us that we can also some materials, HR materials that will also guide us.
That will be great, sir. That will be great.
Yes, I'll drop some templates. What will happen is this. Let me just do something here now. 07032947777. Since we are not much, we are just 3 of us. So just chat me up on this number. Chat me up on this number. And sorry, I'm coming. Let me send it. I also sent the program director so he can have it on the library. But I'll also send this to you people. as a souvenir from me. So it will help you integrate easily. I hope you've seen. Just chat, please. You can just send me your name now. Chat me on WhatsApp. I'll forward all the materials I have. I just did a template recently that I shared on, for those that are my friends on, okay, we're not much here, so for those that are my friends on LinkedIn, you can see it there. I shared a employee handbook template. I do that from time to time. I'm going to be sharing on that template maybe tomorrow or next. Saturday. So on Monday, I'll be sharing a new template. Do that sometimes every 2 weeks. So you can join my engagement on social media as well. You just do this hashtag. Just do this hashtag, OrganHR. One word, please. One word. And on Facebook and LinkedIn specifically. Facebook and LinkedIn specifically, and join in conversations. So in the absence of any other conversation, I'm going to call on the program director to have the floor. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity and the privilege. Mr. B. I don't know if it's online.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mike. It has been an awesome section with Dr. Mike since yesterday. Please, can we sincerely appreciate Dr. Mike for his time? I understand how busy his schedule could be as a HR in his organization, but these 2 days he had made it a point of call, a point of duty to make sure that we also get to learn from the wealth of his knowledge. Please, can we appreciate him for the great work he has done? Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so that being said, let me congratulate everyone. So far, this is the 3rd week of this training, and we're supposed to write a test today. But we'll waive that test so that somebody will not faint.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, another important announcement we want to make is that last week we actually took extra lectures last week. So we are meant to have just one outstanding class, which is on industrial relations and all of that. So we're going to also send you the materials. So feel free to read that up as you're studying for your exam, because exam is next week. Now, for the sake of exam, we have removed the lectures for next week. So we will try as much as we can not to bring out questions from industrial relations. So there will be no lecture next week. So you have all through next week to read and prepare for your exam that is coming up on Saturday. Please, your exam is on Saturday, and it is 2 p.m. on Saturday. 2 p.m. on Saturday. Your exam is online. It's multi-choice. Is it multi-choice question they call it? Okay, in Nigerian parlance, OBJ question.
It's not objective. It's objective.
Okay, it's OBJ question. Oh, all right.
Doctor,
Okay.
I'm not in town today. Hello,
Yes,
sir.
who is not in town?
It's Mrs. Favor on the line. So I'm not in town. No, actually,
Okay.
I'm in Enugu. I came for a program. You know, I told you I've been on transit. I didn't fly. I came by road, and I have a program out to next week. So hopefully, I'll be coming back Friday or Saturday. So I don't know how I'm going to do the exam, except you want to give my own on Sunday.
Okay, so what you will do?
So I am also not a resident of Abuja.
No. The exam is online. You're not coming to Abuja.
Okay.
Yes. But if you give us your transport, we'll host your question in your house.
No.
Okay,
because
so the question...
I'll be traveling that period. I'll be on the road again, just like today. You notice I was off and on. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how I'm going to do it. I should be back Friday or Saturday. So it will affect my writing the exam.
Okay, so I'm dropping an email.
Okay.
you have any reason why you will not write that exam on that said date, please write to the registrar at ipmi.org. Just write so that will be taken. Okay, so yes, let me also apologize. Your material should have been sent since the second week, but we've had need to update the materials completely. So it delayed. We didn't want to send the old materials to you. So we had to update everything completely. And as the update was going on, we took a little while. So yesterday, the admin people sent that particular the link to the materials. So I don't know how many of us have gotten it. The link to the materials was sent via finance.
Not yet, sir.
Okay, so check. The link. You have not received the link, not we, because I don't think all of it. Yeah.
So I've not received the link too.
Okay, so check the mail you sent for your
I got
materials.
the link.
Okay, you got the link. All right. So check it is from finance at IPMI. So they sent in response to your to the attachment you sent as a proof of payment. So please kindly check your email, finance at iipmi.org. If you did not get it, please kindly reach out to us in the chat room, in the WhatsApp group, so that we can do the needful today. Please. And please, those materials.
I'm seeing it now. I've just seen it. I received it yesterday.
Okay. So all the materials are exclusively yours and personal. Please, they are not to be commercialized or used for any other purpose apart from learning. Okay. And then somebody asked the question on I think it's Rejoice that asked if there are other materials. Yeah, there are a whole number of materials. But for this particular course, we recommend Human Resource Management Handbook by Michael Armstrong. Yeah. Human Resource Management Handbook by Michael Armstrong. So what we may also have to do is to include it in your material so that you can download. I think the material is over 1,000 pages. I call it the Bible of Human Resource Management. That's just the general human resource. By the time we get to level 2, which is the strategic human resource management, there is also another book for that. So, but basically, everything you need to know about human resource management on the international scale is available at okay, so let me stop the streaming also. Okay, let me just, it's available at Human Resource Management Handbook by Michael Armstrong. So we'll attach that as part of the document that you can download and please keep for your use. Yes, our presentation also will be checkered a bit. Our presentation will be checkered a bit. Now, we have decided to give you the opportunity to choose any area of your choice to design a presentation on. And we've learned a whole lot we've gone from organizational development, organizational behavior, design, change management, and job analysis, performance management. We've looked at a whole lot, employee relations, diversity management, and others. So please find an area. We also dealt with training administration, of which you're still owing me an assignment. So what you will do for me on my assignment, please kindly put my assignment in a paper, Microsoft Word, and upload to the WhatsApp group. I will pick it up from there. And if I have any question, I've already given you the sequence, how the assignment should look like. Okay, so kindly develop it in the Microsoft Word, upload it to the WhatsApp group. I will be able to pick it up from there. Okay.
Sorry for cutting you short, sir. So
the assignment.
I don't think I have enough light about it. There were some days my network was bad.
Okay. You're among those people that did transform your street burnt. And you've not had light all this while.
No, sir.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So just as a reminder to the question, we're to develop a training program. On any subject of your choice. Just do out of the TNA in your office, out of the training needs in your organization, or out of any training need you can identify, just develop a training program on it. And then the training program should include what I'm writing down now: the rationale for the training, the learning objectives, the learning curriculum, your target audience for the training, your learning methodology. Okay. What other thing? Your mode of assessment. Okay. Include also your duration, your proposed cost, and location of the training. Okay. Did you get that? I've just
yes,
put
sir.
it in the classroom. Is there anything I'm missing there?
The cost. I think you talk about the cost or something.
Yeah, the cost is there. So let me run through it again. The rationale is like establishing the reason why the training is essential for the category of audience you've chosen. Then your learning objectives, what would they achieve from the training by the end of the day? Then your learning curriculum, what will be the content of the subject matters of the training? Then your target audience, who will the training be targeted for? Your learning methodology, how will you deliver the learning? Now, if the learning is going to be online, please also indicate, apart from your general methodology of saying you will use lecture, you will use presentation, you will use case study and what have you, also establish the platform. Is it going to be online or is it going to be offline? Then your mode of assessment, how are you going to assess understanding? How are you going to assess application of the knowledge that you have given? Then the duration, how long will it take? The cost. So you can do your cost either per head or group costing. You can aggregate everything and then cost it. And then you have your location. What will be your preferred location? Okay, I would have added other things, but let's get this first. When we get this, then we can talk about any other thing. Okay. Now, please note that this is exclusive of your main presentation. Please note, this is exclusive of your project presentation. Now, how will your project presentation go? Let's discuss that very briefly. How will your project presentation go? Now, for your project presentation, has anybody chosen any area of interest? Is there any interest out of the special areas that has been taught? Is there any area that has got your attention? It's okay, this is where I'll do my project. Anyone? Okay, all the microphones are on. How come I'm not hearing anybody? Okay, except for Mrs. Favor. Mr. Ima and Mrs. Joyce, your microphones are on. So have we decided an area that we want to go in for our project presentation?
Not yet, sir. For me, not yet.
Okay. Mrs. Favor, have you decided an area? Joyce, have you decided an area?
So I'm considering performance management.
Okay. Okay, so whichever area that we choose, now, how do we want to make the presentation? Please note that the presentation is going to be need-driven. need driven. It has to be attached to a particular problem you want to solve. So anyone you want to do, whether you want to use your organization as a case study or another organization as a case study, but it must be applicable. So for instance, Joyce want to do performance, want to consider performance. So in considering performance, you might not be able to establish performance completely, the total performance system, you might not be able to establish it, but you can choose a target area, within the organization and link it to performance, and then establish a process that can move the two towards actualization. For instance, do you want to trail between training to performance? If you want to do the impact of training to performance in an organization, for example, you have two things there. Training is the variable. Performance is the constant that you want to establish, right? So if you are going to use training as example, you might want to look at what kind of trainings will be done. What will be the observable change? Okay, we just dealt with change management. What will be the observable change in behavior that we will see as performance? So there must be KPI. That's what I'm trying to say. So under your training, you must develop key performance indicators to show performance. Okay, and since it's not something you are doing immediately, you can also give yourself mode of evaluation. Okay, how will you evaluate what you've done? Dr. Kedna said you can give yourself 3 months, 6 months while implementing that performance or change you're introducing or performance driver you're introducing. You must give yourself a timeline that's set some milestones, KPI, that is okay. After 3 months, we want to see this. After 6 months, we want to see this. And after 3 months or 6 months, what will be the impact on performance? That is what we want to see you do. We don't need much stories. And please, our presentations will be on, is it on or in a slide? So you develop a slide on what you want to do. The impact of training on performance in so company. You identify the training, the department you want to give the training to, the proposed outcomes. For how long are you going to watch that, the evaluation techniques you're going to use, and then we'll review what you've done, and then we will advise whether what you're going to do will actually deliver it or not. Now, if you want to do, let's say you want to do organizational structuring, another person, for instance, I want to design an organizational structure for a startup organization, or you want to redesign an existing organization. Maybe we want to introduce change, and you discover that the major challenge of the organization is the organizational structure, and you want to redesign. Now, if you're redesigning, it also must be need-driven. You must have identified the challenges, why that particular organizational structuring has to go. Now, if you are doing an organizational structuring, then you must determine the kind of structure that will work, and then establish the basis for which that particular structure will work, and then also set your KPI, your evaluatable parameters to determine if the framework or the structure you are establishing is working or not. So you can also give yourself 3 months, 6 months. We don't want to take 1 year, because if I invested 50 million for you to restructure my organization and I'm giving you 1 year to now begin to see impacts, that is too long. So 90 days, 120 days, maximum should be around 240 days. We should be able to begin to see results. Okay, so if you're doing organizational structuring, for example, identify the change, or perhaps identify the organization first, the proposed change or challenge the organization is facing, and why you think the structure is the best way to deal with that problem. Then introduce that structure. That structure becomes the strategy you're using to achieve the results or the performance or the change. Okay, so get your evaluatable parameters. What are the observable outcomes you begin to see after introduction of the change that will make you feel like, yes, we are getting results. Okay. Whichever approach, whichever area you want to get into, it must be need-driven. Applicable, there must be a need, there must be expected outcome, then there must be introduction of a particular strategy that you're using, and then evaluation. I hope we're all on the same page. So there must be a need, identify a need or a challenge within an organization, then establish your expected or propose a strategy. Okay, please, I'm typing so that you get it. Establish expected outcomes from your strategy. Set your KPI. Evaluation parameters. Okay, so I've just put that in the chat room. What I said, number one, any area any area you decide to go into, it must be applicable, it must be anything you're developing, it must be need-driven, and it must be applicable. So
Hi, Dan, how are you?
I used Joyce that want to deal with performance. Now I said, if you're dealing, the performance is very big. Performance is so big. Performance is like you are joining everything about human resource and you want to bring it all together. So it's a very big thing. You might not be able to develop a comprehensive performance management system with the shortest time, but you can choose a parameter, an item that determines performance. An item that determines performance, and link it with a particular strategy that will now give you an expected result. So I took, for instance, say training, the impact of training on performance on a particular organization. And before you say training is a strategy there, you must have done your needs and assessment, or you must have done your initial assessment to discover that, yes, training is a vital strategy for this place. Now, if you identify that training is a vital strategy, under training, you can now identify the KPIs, the kind of parameters you will set that by the end of this training, this is what we want to see. That's the expected, or your expected outcomes rather. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see. Now, your KPI is to measure the outcomes. And you're going to give yourself a time. Is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be 6 months? Is it going to be 240 days? Whichever one you set. So let's assume that the problem of this organization is behavioral misconduct. So they have behaviors that are detrimental to the organization. And then you want to do a training and it's affecting the performance. And then you want to do a training to correct that. Now, behavioral misconduct is another bulky word. So let's say late coming is an issue. That's the behavior that you want to address. So you now decide to do a time management training. I say by the end of this training, within the next 3 months, we want staff to be coming to work at least, or at most, at most, they've been coming by 10 a.m. So at most, let them be coming by 8 a.m. That has become your KPI now. Okay, that's become your setting time at 8 a.m. Now, you not say, okay, we'll track this for the next 3 months and for the next 6 months. Now, that does not stop there. If they come to work early by 8, what will be the impact on performance? If they come to work early, will there be defined tasks that will now say, okay, performance should be able to improve by 25%, or it would improve by 15%, or it will improve by 5%? All those becomes your evaluatable items. So with that, we will look at what you're presenting and see how realistic it is. Do I have any question on this?
Yes, sir. The parameters now. Can you suggest parameters for what you just said now?
For training?
Yes, for the examples you're using now.
Yes,
So
I just gave let's say we want to reduce lateness or absenteeism from work.
Yes.
And we said the way we will do this now is through training. We observe
is that the
that
parameter?
No, that's not the parameter. That training is the strategy, is not
the
the parameter.
strategy. That's the strategy. Okay.
Yeah, training is the strategy. Now, what are the parameters? What we want to achieve is an adjustment in behavior that will make them to start coming to work early or not miss work. That is the major thing we want to achieve. So what parameters are we going to see? The parameters we will see, that will be the things we want to look out for at the end of this training, the expected outcomes now. So we want to look at, number one, have they started coming to work early? We can now set a KPI that will now help us justify the parameter of timeliness. So early attendance, that is a parameter. But our KPI for the early attendance is that when they come to work on or before 8 a.m., that will be recorded as early attendance. So that's parameter number one, early attendance with a KPI of 738. That's one parameter. Another parameter we could also see is how many people or what is the rate of absenteeism. If the rate of absenteeism has dropped, maybe before the training, we're having 10 absenteeism within 1 month. And after the training, after the 1 month, we now have 0 absenteeism in 1 month. We can now say, yes, that KPI of 0 absenteeism has addressed the parameter of absenteeism. Then we can also check the level of productivity. Productivity also becomes a what do you call it now? A parameter. Now, has productivity increased with the attendance, late attendance, absenteeism? Maybe we're having productivity of 15% output per week as against what was proposed. Okay. Now, if productivity now increases over a measurable period of 3 months to 6 months, as you will decide your own time for your KPI time. So if productivity increase maybe from 15% to 20%, then we can also say that parameter had been achieved at the KPI of an increase of 20 to 25% and all of that. So you could check out every other parameter. And then you can also check other parameters like how attentive, what is the attention people now give to their work. Because when people are absent or come to work late, there is a possibility that they will end up talking and gisting with one another. So you also want to check what is the attention people are now giving to their work. Okay, if the rate of distractions within work has reduced at a particular KPI you've set, maybe people only stand up now when there is need to, not that they just stand up and go to another department and be gisting. Okay, so all those things can be set as parameters, but each parameter will be evaluated through a KPI. That will be exactly what will now tell us if that particular strategy of training is working or not after a defined time of, say, 3 months, 6 months, 240 days, or as the case may be. Do you understand that? Mrs. Favor, do you understand that? Okay.
I'm trying to digest everything he said.
Oh my God.